This should not be happening, and there is nothing an apology will do to really change anything. And, you know, if we sit here and they'll say lessons learned and all of that, but then in 2 weeks' time there'll be another inconsistency. So, you know, this has been a real
What should we do? Scrap it?
problem. Well, they won't be able to do that till the end of the season. I think we've got it now, so we have to deal with it
The
till the end of
genie's
the
down the
season.
bottle somewhat, isn't it?
Unfortunately, but they've got an opportunity to get it right.
Yeah.
Between now and the end of the season, they've got an opportunity to actually convince people they know what they're doing.
Right, let's talk about tonight, shall we? Charlton against Exeter. And I overheard, Louis, quite a significant bit of team news as far as Charlton is concerned.
Yeah, well, a couple of them really. There's 4 changes in total from the side that shared a goal of straw with Shrewsbury on Saturday. One of those is in goal Harry Eistedt, who came into the side in Dean Holden's final game in charge and kept his place in between the sticks. He's our first league start since February for Chuks Aneke, and that was his only league start last season away at Forest Green Rovers. He very rarely starts games with his fitness record for the Addicks, but he comes in up top. One of 4 changes, as I said, in total. So Eistedt goes out in goal. Campbell, Tyrese Campbell, that is, and Miles Leeburn both dropped to the bench. Terry Taylor was withdrawn with injury in the first half at the New Meadow on Saturday. He comes out. In comes Ashley Maynard Brewer in between the sticks. Louis Watson, the Luton loanee, returns to the starting lineup. The Man City loanee, Slobodan Tedic, makes his first start for the club, and as I said, Chuks Aneke, his first league start since February for a game where the Addicks will look to try and continue this unbeaten start under the new boss, Michael Appleton.
Yes, 4 games unbeaten. Paul, have you seen the Mike Appleton managed Charlton yet?
No, I'm buzzing for this. I'm really looking forward to it. Because I'm looking at the team, and the last game I saw of the Dean Holden, I think there's probably Dobson, maybe Hector, possibly. Aneke may have been around, Corey Blackett may have been around. That's about it, I think. So there's mass changes. So I'm really looking forward to how this team plays. Because from what I've heard from a lot of people, it's a little bit Jekyll and Hyde. They're great 1 minute and not so good the next, and it's about now being consistent over a period of 90 minutes. And I'm really looking forward to seeing if they can do that extra above them in the table as well. So it's not going to be an easy game. So it might be a challenge for them, but I'm really looking forward to it. They're unbeaten, so their tails should be up. So they're at home as well. So I'm really looking forward to this.
What do you think, Louis? Has Michael Appleton made an instant impact? Do you think his management's making a difference?
In terms of points return, he certainly has. He's found ways to get results, and particularly as Morts has picked up on there, we're not necessarily playing that well throughout 90 minutes of games. You know, Saturday, the first half away, a Shrewsbury side who haven't scored in nearly 10 hours of football now, was awful. And Nicky Apples, as we've affectionately started calling him, actually came out in the interview after and told me that he had to have words with certain individuals. Absolutely not, Emma, and I will not be doing that ever at any point, I can promise you that. Especially after what sounded like a stern talking to getting to his side at half time at Shrewsbury. There's been good 45-minute spells in each and every one of these games so far. Away Stevenage, the second half they were better after a poor Shrewsbury game. The first half was very disappointing. Charlton controlled it in the second half and arguably had enough chances to win it, but both teams would have put forward their goalkeepers man of the match in that game because the Shrewsbury side who don't score a lot of goals create a lot of chances. So yeah, there's still room for improvement. I'm sure that Michael Appleton knows that. The most important thing is he's got some points on the board, which over the last few weeks under Dean Holden, he didn't look like he knew how to do that anymore. So it's been an okay start. He'll want a bit more from his side, and tonight will be a really interesting test against an Exeter team who a month ago were top of League One. They've lost 3 of their last 4 league games, including that home defeat against Leyton Orient a couple of weeks ago. But they sandwiched in between that. They beat Luton from the Premier League in the EFL Cup. So it's been a reasonably good start to the season for them. Perhaps they've just tailed up in the league though.
Thanks very much. We'll see how Mickey Apples gets on tonight. Charlton against Exeter. That will be our commentary game from the Valley on BBC Radio London Digital. Also in League One tonight, Leyton Orient hosting Lincoln City. Dave Victor is, of course, our man at Brisbane Road. I saw Lincoln City recently, Dave, playing and only just losing to West Ham in the League Cup. They're a pretty impressive side, unfortunately, for the O's.
Yes, currently 10th, Emma, and they'll be looking forward to returning to league action after a victory at the weekend at Cheltenham. That's their first win in the league in 5 attempts. But after becoming the first side to lose at strugglers Fleetwood Town, Leyton Orient's manager Richie Allens will be demanding a positive response from his team. They've got back-to-back matches here at Brisbane Road. Reading here on Saturday, but tonight it's the visit of Mark Kennedy's Lincoln City. As you say, they impressed in the League Cup. They knocked out Sheffield United in the first round, and they put up that fighting performance against the Hammers last week. City can now focus on moving closer to the playoff places. To achieve that, they've got to improve on their form on the road. Just the one win so far. That team looks close to it. Way back in August, in contrast, the O's looking to build on a remarkable record in the 10. They've maintained 18 clean sheets since the start of last season, and that's the best in all 4 divisions. Whilst in 2023, Lincoln have kept 16 clean sheets, and that's the best in League One. Ethan Galbraith misses tonight. You saw red in injury time at Fleetwood, where Omar Beckel sustained a groin injury. It's not as bad as feared. Nevertheless, Dan Happy starts, and he's one of 5 changes. Ed Kearns will partner him in the centre of the defence. Will Hunt, Jordan Brown, together with summer signing Max Sanders, who faces his former club, as does Theo Archibald. Lincoln City unchanged.
Have you just predicted a 0-0, Dave?
Never with 8 Norwich. Let's hope they can keep a clean sheet. It wasn't a good display on Saturday. They played so well for 30 minutes, and then they really were.
How damaging was that loss? Because it was against Fleetwood as well, do you think?
I think that's what made it hurt, and the fact that Late Night was so dominant for 30 minutes, and as Richard Wellham said, you know, it's a game they should have won, and they ended up losing.
Thank you very much, Dave, watching Leighton Orient host Lincoln City this evening. So that's the other game that is taking place tonight for us to keep an eye on in League One. Back up to the Championship next. I think we have to go back to 2005 for the last time Millwall travelled to Plymouth in the league. Probably a good thing, because it is rather a long journey. Carl Bates has done it, thankfully, and is at Home Park now. Carl, I think it's something like a 500-mile round trip, isn't it?
It is indeed. I mean, I left my house in Cambridge at 7:30 this morning and was down in Devon. Well, we're here, you know, it's a nice evening here, and it is a big ask for Gary Stockman. They've travelled here. We desperately need a positive result. I mean, on the road, Millwall have really struggled to score, in all honesty. They've only scored 3 on their travels. I think only Rotherham have scored less. So where's the last place you want to come? To visit the Pilgrims. They're the top scorers in the league at home. In fact, only Swindon in all 4 divisions have scored more on their own patch, and so it's going to be a huge test for Gary's side. It really is. But you know what Millwall are like. This is a sort of game that somehow they'll come out with a 1-0 win.
I didn't realise quite how good Plymouth were at home. That, I'm sure, will be something that Gary and the sort of coaching staff will have been looking at in terms of what they're expecting to deal with this evening.
100%. I mean, Stephen Schumacher's got Plymouth playing a very positive brand of football. We've seen it at home and away, and with some of their scorelines as well. I mean, Norwich come here in form, and Plymouth managed to get 6 past them, and I think we're 4 up in the first half an hour. So this is a side you've got to be very careful with early on, nice and compact, because you could get blown away. I mean, Ryan Hardy, top striker, he's something that Millwall will have to keep an eye on. And I mean, I've received Gary's team news. They've made 3 changes from the side defeated against Swansea. So it's going to be Bart Biakowski in goal. At back 3, it's going to be Ryan Leonard, Wes Harding coming in for his full debut in the middle, and Jake Cooper on the left of that. And then McNamara and Joe Bryan, the 2 wing backs. Casper Denore and Alan Campbell in the middle. They're going to play Zian Fleming just ahead of them, and then Kevin Nisbet partnered by Duncan Watmore up top. So it looks like it's going to be a 5-2-1-2 formation.
But as you were saying, goals remain an issue, don't they?
They do. I mean, it's a real surprising stat, as you know. I do like them. The Millwall haven't scored from ahead of this season, something that Millwall have been really a danger to most sides from set pieces, and I think tonight that could be something that they will have to rely on. Exactly. I mean, Jake Cooper, as we know, I think he's around 7'5" and due another growth spurt, and he's normally such a threat in the air, but that's something that Millwall have struggled with. Hopefully tonight, as I say, early on, just try and keep it, frustrated. Almost do what Swansea did to Millwall. Swansea first 20 minutes at the din really just took the sting out of the game, just passed it around, got a cheap free kick here, just slowly but steadily killed the game and then built into it. And I think that's something Millwall have got to do today. It's so important. First quarter and out 20 minutes, don't go behind, don't get this crowd going, because Plymouth score for fun, but we do not want to see Plymouth getting an early couple of goals lead, because it could be a really, really long night for the Lions.
Yeah, what was the last home score for Plymouth?
Oh, good question now. I know they beat Norwich 6-2.
Yeah.
Caught me for once, I haven't got
No,
that one.
that's fine, 6-2 will do.
it. I'm not going to lie, it's been a long
I bet
day.
you are. I bet you are. Thank you very much, Carl Bates, who's made that very long trip to Plymouth this evening. My geography's not great, so I'm not entirely sure where Harrogate is on a map of Britain, but that is where Wimbledon have travelled tonight. Both Harrogate Town and Wimbledon in very good form as they meet at the Envirovent Stadium this evening. Mark Taylor's there for us.
Hello, Anna.
I was going to say, very good home win for Wimbledon, and so heading to Harrogate, which is where in the country, Mark?
In North Yorkshire. It's actually the gateway to the North Yorkshire Dales. It's a spa town, and it has a population of more than 70,000 people. You're right, it was a very good win for AFC Wimbledon on Saturday, their first home win of the season, which followed up the impressive scoreline 3-1 they won at Walsall the previous match. So things are going well for the Dogs. They're in the top 7, they're sixth in the table, and they'll fancy their chances, I think, tonight, taking at least a point. As you rightly say, Harrogate have picked some for themselves. They've won their last 2, they've taken 7 points in the last 9, but I would think that Wimbledon will feel they will have too much for Harrogate tonight.
And they've got a bit of a star in their team, haven't they? Who sadly might be heading off to play, well, we know, will be heading off to play for his country quite soon again.
And we're talking about the hat-trick hero,
Indeed.
from Saturday, Ali Al-Hamadi. Yes, I mean, he had a bit of a tough time in terms of goal scoring, but that all changed at Walsall. He scored late on in that game, and that seemed to lift his confidence. And obviously he grabbed a hat-trick, so well done to him. He is a natural goal scorer. I just think with strikers, if you go a few games without scoring, your head can drop. I mean, it doesn't noticeably drop, but you kind of feel that things aren't going quite as well as they should be doing, because a striker at the end of the day is judged on the number of goals they score. And 4 goals already now, if you include the hat-trick, of course, on Saturday. And I think Ali Al-Hamadi will be really pleased with the fact that he's scored 4 goals in 2 games, and who knows, hopefully he can continue that sequence, that goal scoring tonight here at Harrogate. We're not expecting necessarily a hat-trick from him, but he's such a good player, such a handful to play against, got great movement about him, and I think the Harrogate defence will be hard-pressed to restrict his opportunities. To be fair to Harrogate, although they have a real problem scoring goals, they don't actually concede that many, so it might not be another 2-2 draw here.
1-0 win will do, Mark Taylor. Thank you very much. Harrogate Town against Wimbledon. Also in League 2 this evening, Sutton, who sadly remain bottom of the table, a really tough trip and loss at Crawley at the weekend. Back at home where they host Salford City this evening. Arminor is at GGL, as I heard Aaron Paul refer to it last night. What's the team news first, Armin, before we discuss what's going on at Sutton?
Yeah, Sutton have made a plethora of changes from the defeat at Crawley on Saturday afternoon. 6 to be exact. I'll give you the key ones, however. Harry Smith was injured on Saturday, didn't participate in the Crawley performance at all. They issued his back, had some fluid removed as well. So Smith's up on the bench tonight, he's an important appearance. Leanne also got to the bench along with former Mills striker Adrian O'Brien. Craig Eastman, the skipper, and Craig Clay, 2 Craigs, both in midfield. It looks like 4-5-1 is the setup tonight for Matt Gray's side. He still doesn't have Louis John, nor does he have the likes of Rob Mills to call, both out injured in the long term. Dean Bazan went up to the hip problem, but starts tonight, so no need for Jack Rose in the Sutton net. Salford picked up a win over Newport Saturday, and for Neil Wood, it's a match at home. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So he's stuck with the same team that picked up the 2-1 win on Saturday. The other ex-Millwall striker, Matt Smith, who made a hat-trick against Forest all those years ago, starts for his side tonight.
Oh, very good. All 6'7" of Matt Smith. You don't need me to tell you what he can do from a set piece. It's kind of continuing to be tough, isn't it, for Matt Gray and for Sutton? You mentioned the 6 changes. Can you read back to that from the weekend? Is he trying to kind of see what else is available in his squad? What other options he has?
It's become a very wafer-thin squad with the injuries starting to pile up, Frankie Emma, and he's going with an approach, I can tell from the off, just looking at the lineup, that he's trying to go with the same sort of performance he tried at Port Vale last Tuesday, which I was gratefully there to see from a different position. But he attempted a 4-5-1 setup, which was robust and did a very good job of holding Port Vale off for a long time. Despite going behind, they managed to react and push forward in numbers under pressure, and got an equaliser again, ultimately unlucky to go out in the fashion that they did. But he's trying to make it as hard for Salford as possible. And put it this way, Salford before Saturday, were in a much more difficult position themselves. They won 3 games all season, hadn't won since August before beating Newcastle on Saturday. So in terms of where they are in the league, it's very close between the two, 6 points between them. I think Matt Gray will look at this in terms of a game at the start of a very difficult month as an opportunity to take one aside within that area. And if you can get something tonight, again, another, let's say, another bit on the foundation to build on from the difficult position they're in. I spoke to Bruce Elliott earlier. He's still optimistic. He still hopes that he can get his side to hit up the table as soon as possible. But there's an annoying habit Sutton have. They've never beaten Salford in any of the EFL ties. The last time actually the team saw each other on a football field, it was in January on a really poor pitch. So who knows? It's going to be a big opportunity for Sutton to upset Salford and end a barren streak. They've never beaten the Allwood side in the league. So yeah, we're hoping.
Yeah, because I was going to ask you, it's always unfair to ask a reporter, how are the fans feeling? You say you've spoken to the chairman, but there must be other people that you kind of make eye contact with on the way in to kind of get yourself set up who, do they smile at you? Do they cross their fingers? Do they, how do you sense that the fans around you are feeling?
I get a very mixed response from the fans I talk to here at Gandon Lane from time to time. Even during the barren run, it can differ from anxious looks to somewhat pain looks of hope at the same time.
The Leno guy messing out here, right? Extremist guy, dog, bugger dog. Extremist abandoned dog. Messing out here, all mess about. Show up, get up, show down. Leno guy with dog. Extremist guy messing out here.
It looks perilous, but it's still a long way to go this season. And October, yes, proves to be a difficult month against very tough sides, and something just needs to get a foot in the door as soon as possible. And tonight's no better opportunity. So fingers are firmly crossed around here.
Everything crossed, Ahmed. Thank you very much. We will be at Ganderbury Lane to bring you regular updates of Sutton against Salford. We'll also let you know how Arsenal are doing away against Lords. That's an 8 o'clock kick-off of the second game of the group stages for them back in the Champions League. As far as the team news is concerned, I can tell you that Mikel Arteta has made 2 changes to the side. Won 4-0 against Bournemouth in the Premier League at the weekend. Leandro Trossard and Takahiro Tomiyasu come into the side to replace Ben White and Eddie Nketiah. Bukayo Saka was a doubt, but he does start. Thomas Partey is on the bench for the first time in August when he was ruled out with a groin injury. So David Raya in goal, Tomiyasu, Saliba, Gabriel Sinchenko, Odegaard the captain, Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, Saka, Trossard and Gabriel Jesus are the starting 11 for Arsenal this evening away in their latest Champions League tie. So, you are listening to BBC Radio London, and now we are offering you a choice of listening. On 94.9 FM, we are going to be talking about footballers retiring and what they do next, in conversation with author Tony Brixton with his book Kicking On, How Footballers Win Post-Retirement Game of Life. If you fancy listening to that later, then you can find us on BBC Sounds, because I imagine that many of you will want to listen to BBC Radio London Digital, and if you're listening to us through your television, we are at the Valley this evening. We have full commentary from League One of Charlton against Exeter.
BBC Radio London.
Before we get into our stories, I feel like there is something we must talk about first.
Your London and your life.
We don't need any Breakfast Club stories, because this is the story.
So far, they all seem to be very, very nice men. Imagine that being 3 nice men at the same time in London.
A bit like Vince Meldrew, we listen to a lot of music. I listen to a lot of BBC London. I learn more listening to the practice than I did at school.
Well, thank you for that.
BBC Radio London.
Commentary tonight is to kind of catch up with everything that is happening here on the home of London sport. So I can tell you actually, by the way, as well, we have more commentary for you tomorrow night. We are with Queen's Park Rangers at Leeds tomorrow evening. So the commentary continues here on the home of London football. But on 94.9 FM, before we hand over to Nassim at 8 o'clock, we're going to talk about what...
Do you know about public order? Public order? What is public order? Section 5? Why are you messing about what is student for after church?
Retired players suffer from mental health problems, depression, alcoholism, divorce, perhaps ending up in prison. Many players, I guess, imagining that they're going to play forever. They don't think about life after football. The Professional Footballers Association has actually said it's really hard to think about life after sport when you're in the middle of it, really, in that constant battle to hold down a position as a player. You're told what to eat, when to sleep, and then suddenly you're left to fend for yourselves. And some people, some players, perhaps can't cope. Well, that's one side of the coin, but there is another side, a more positive side of retirement. Many players choosing management successfully, hopefully, sometimes coaching, multimedia work as a summer writer, or maybe working on podcasts. Hundreds of others have found new challenges, learned new skills, go off to find fulfilling and successful second careers as they tackle the post-football game of life head-on. And that is the subject of Tony Whitson's book, Kicking On: How Footballers Win the Post-Retirement Game of Life. Well, I spoke to Tony recently, and I started by asking him, as I do all the authors I speak to, why this book and why now?
I think it's a fascinating subject. I've enjoyed writing books. I'm retired from work, and it's been a passionate hobby of mine. Always a hobby. Football I've loved all my life. I think there's a really interesting story to tell about footballers who retired. It's a complicated story. The story certainly evolved as I put the book together.
In what way?
I started off wanting to write about. I used to see features in newspapers, where are they now? And they look back at a team on the FA Cup final 30 years ago and tell you where they were. And I was always interested in those sort of features. And I started to do that. And I also found that there was a book already written about retired footballers, but it was writing about the footballers who suffered mental health problems, stress, anxiety, depression. And that's 4 out of 10 footballers apparently don't recover particularly well from giving up the game and starting a new life afresh, probably at 35. And so I wanted to write about the 6 out of 10 who had not suffered mental health problems and have gone on to do positive, interesting things with their life. But also one, as I say, evolved into a story about retirement, because retirement comes to us all in one way or another. I'm retired not only from work, as I said, but also from playing club cricket for many, many years, and stopping, retiring, I found it quite difficult. I didn't want to stop because I didn't want to be outlasting my welcome with the club, so I thought I ought to stop at a certain age. And so I wanted to, the book covers that aspect as well.
I think one of the obvious issues with a professional athlete retiring is it's not going to be at 65, is it? It's going to be much younger than that. So they do have to think about a life after football.
It's a wonderful opportunity. Probably 35 is about the average age that a good footballer will stop. The body will tell them to stop. The manager will tell them to stop, so they stop playing. And they're suddenly cut off from their friends, the dressing room, the banter, all that. And the sense of purpose, which is what anybody who retires from anything suffers, that no matter how important or insignificant your job was, you were still doing something important, something important that mattered. And footballers have to cope with that. And it's a wonderful opportunity to start a second career. Lots of them stay in football by becoming managers or coaches or working in academies. But I've found the most interesting ones to write about and research are the ones who've done something completely different with their lives.
I think one of the things you say very early in the book is something that gets you up in the morning?
I've got a friend, I play badminton once a week. I've got a friend there, and he said that he decided to take retirement early because he found the job very stressful. He was in buying, so he had to get in early in the morning to capture the market in one part of the world, stay late into the evening to capture the market the other side of the world, then go home and do his administration. And he said it all became too much for him, so he decided to stop. And his wife was still working. One day she went out to work and he said he was in bed. And when she got home, he was still in bed. And she said, well, are you ill? And he said, no, I couldn't think of anything to get up for. And he's adjusting. He's found new goals in his life. He's joined the badminton club. He's doing voluntary work as a gardener. But he had to find something to do. And that's what footballers, or any of us, fail to do, I think, is to find something interesting that will challenge them in that we don't get paid as much as a footballer does, but something different to do.
And do you think that footballers need help in thinking about that?
I think we all need help, and I think footballers probably more so than many. I think you're so busy being a footballer, keeping fit, keeping up with the others, challenges of the game every week, travelling, being told what to eat, being told when to sleep, that I think it becomes an enormous shock to the system. And I think certainly it's reflected in the book that we all need to think about it. Not necessarily, I think it's quite a good thing to stop and then have a little sit down and have a little rest, but then get on with doing something else.
Well, I imagine in that case, for the 6 out of 10 that you're talking about, those who don't become depressed or addicted or whatever, they are people who maybe have a sense of relief, possibly, about not having to play football anymore.
I don't see how it could be a relief not to play football anymore. I think of a more wonderful career, especially if you were good at it. But I think I think lots of us get sucked into a job, perhaps when you're 18, 20, 21, and then you have to do that job because you've got then mortgage, you've got a family, and so you have to keep your career going at a certain level. If you're 35 and you come out of playing football, you've got the whole world at your feet. There's people in the book who become a podiatrist or an undertaker, or a man became an undertaker, all sorts of varied things. The obvious thing to do is try and stay in football, but that's really competitive again, or to do media, punditry, that sort of thing. That's competitive as well. You make one mistake and you're probably out the door. So at some stage you've got to really think, what do I want from life? There's a story in there about a footballer who didn't know what to do, who played for Arsenal, and he and his wife were out one day and they drove past the fire station, and the wife said, that would be a really good job for you because it's a team, you're working in a team, you're working with lots of colleagues, and you'd like the camaraderie of being at football, and he's now a firefighter and he loves them.
Well, let's talk about some of those options. As you say, maybe an obvious one, although a very competitive one, is to stay within football, maybe become a manager. Who do you think got it right out of those that took that path?
I think a manager I don't think being a very, very good footballer necessarily makes you a good manager. There's people like Frank Lampard, I'm not saying he's a bad manager, but he hasn't had success yet. Steven Gerrard's had to go abroad, and they're two of the best players, and Wayne Rooney's gone abroad as well. They're three of the best players that England had in the last 20 years. So none of them actually managing in the Football League or in this country at the moment. And I think that tells its own story. I think the qualities you need as a manager are different from the qualities you probably need as a footballer. And a lot of it is to do with man management and how you handle people and how you get the best out of people. Especially at the top level when money isn't a threat because they're already on a good salary anyway. So you can't say, oh, well, I've got you won't lend me money this week. So I think it's a very difficult job, and I don't think the skill, I don't think being the best player necessarily makes you the best manager. And you look at people who've done it for many, many years, like Roy Hodgson has done it for many, many years. He was a footballer in his younger days, but he was also a school teacher, and he must have learned skills from working outside the football industry that he then take back into it.
He's not allowed to retire, is he, Paul Roy?
It's amazing, isn't it? And you see him on the touchline, I don't know how often you watch football. football highlights, but he was out there pushing a player the other day who had punted in sort of thing, and you thought, good for you, Roy, well done. Obviously you need to be passionate, and obviously he's never lost that passion for it.
Punditry, as you say, is another option for an ex-footballer, and I think Gary Lineker sort of famously was plotting that path before he finished being, a top player.
Absolutely, and I think actually he avoided punditry to a certain extent, in that he went into it as a presenter, so he could then ask the pundits the difficult questions, and then he could sit back and comment on their answers. Gary Lineker is obviously a highly skilled, intelligent man. He's had on him over the years, and he is very, very good at it. I don't think he ever went into punditry, and now you can see him doing podcasts and branching out, and other pundits like Gary Neville also have many, many other interests outside of football that will sustain him into his older years.
They also, in a way, obviously remain within football, owning a club or being director of football somewhere is another way of staying within the game, even if you can't play it anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Going upstairs, as they used to call it. I don't think footballers ever would have done that in the past. But of course now they retire with better incomes, certainly at the top level, and are able to buy their way into the boardroom, and I'm sure their knowledge and their experience helps enormously the businessmen who are trying to run the club and make profit out of it. I sort of think there are football directors of football, and there are ex-footballers in boardrooms around the country. Not really as many as other groups that they can go into.
How much does having that wealth help, do you think, in being able to try out different options once you've retired as a footballer? Because certainly at the top level, they've got the freedom of having quite a...
Try to get over from intentional court. What is the showdown for after intentional security council court or charge? That over warning as well.
I think it's a blessing in that you can relax and you can take the family on holiday and you can go and play golf 3 days a week. But I think eventually that falls, which is why somebody like Steven Gerrard, jumps at the opportunity to go and manage in Saudi Arabia to pursue his career, because it's the challenge of the job rather than the money that, as well as the money probably, that drives him forward.
And there are others though that have looked forward to doing something away from football, although saying that, they still have that competitive mindset, don't they, as an athlete, and often they'll go into another sport.
That happens a lot. That does happen. Golf, darts, poker is a good one for retired professional footballers. And there's certainly remnants of all of those. Racing drivers, one who tries to become a racing driver. Golf is the most popular probably. But yeah, the competitive instinct is one of the things that got them into football in the first place, the never say die attitude. And so that is easily transferable to other things. There was one footballer who tried to become a golfer and decided he was never going to win the Open Championship. So he stopped, even though he loved playing golf. But he only wanted to be at the very highest level. He couldn't cope with just being another player.
Horse racing is another big sport that they get into.
Absolutely, Mick Channon was a very good footballer that I can remember watching.
The showdown for like public order against public order after a world order is network charts or the court charts. What is showdown for? What is showdown for? Explain in 1 hour. Network order to execute for any mess about after their order. What authority? Not joke anymore. Not kids play. Toy or do what? All execute order. Execution. Won't mess about to play public order against public order. Showdown for number. After all authority in charts. You standing with your right car. Execution order. Who is messing about for? Who is messing about for acting drama? Or not bothering any law? Other not bothering any law. What is witnessing unlawful? Witnessing crime. Right? Witnessing crime is what is the punishment for witnessing crime?
That's the one.
Execution? Yes.
Something back into it. I find it's
Yes.
the whole